Hello and welcome to Twerk, a space where you can hear and read about some amazing people, the fantastic jobs they do, and the paths that led them to where they are today. I'm here with Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Could you tell the listener what it is you do for a living?
I'm an accountant.
Okay, before we go too far into it, we're going to track all the way back. We're going to talk about little Sarah. So what was little Sarah like at primary school when she was little?
Little Sarah was a goody-goody.
Yeah.
I worked very hard.
So you enjoyed school?
No.
Oh.
No. Particularly as I went into senior school, I used to get bullied.
Yeah.
For being a bit of a
Because you're bright. Yeah. Because you're being geeky, which now is a cool thing, isn't it? But when we were... Oh, I think so. I think smart people are definitely celebrated more now.
Yeah, and I had glasses, and glasses weren't cool. And so, I just found it quite hard to be at school. But there were certain classes where I think it was celebrated that you were clever, and I kind of enjoyed those, particularly history and maths. But it wasn't necessarily a pleasant experience. I was a real worrier as well.
Okay.
I used to worry a lot.
About doing well? Or...
Yeah, about doing well. And I don't think that came... I don't really remember that my mum and dad put any pressure on me. They were quite laid back. My dad was definitely quite laid back.
Yeah.
The pressure all came from myself, really. That I wanted to do well. I wanted to achieve... But at the same time, I didn't really feel like I had the confidence to do the things that I really wanted to do. Because I didn't think at school that I wanted to be an accountant. It wasn't something that I thought for, years and years and years, I'm going to be an accountant or anything like that. But there were lots of... And I don't think careers advice was very good in the school that I was in. And hopefully that's better now too.
I still think it's pretty average by all accounts.
Doubted everything. So really, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And probably picked the wrong A-levels because I picked things that I thought, I'm going to enjoy those. They're a bit different. So I did French, German and business studies. And actually, I should never have done those A-levels, but I did.
We obviously liked languages, though.
I did, and I still enjoy languages, but I wouldn't say that they're not my forte, because you do need to be confident to be able to speak languages. My husband was a linguist. I met him at university, and he's full of confidence. He can, and he's a teacher now, French and Spanish, so he loves that.
Okay, but obviously got good A-levels, passed?
Yes, I passed my A-levels.
Yeah.
Went to Sheffield University to do originally French and business studies.
Okay.
And then decided that I didn't want to do French and business studies. I didn't enjoy the business bit, which is really strange because now the business
is what you do. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it was... I don't really know, but I dropped out and went home, did lots of different jobs.
So how long did you spend in Sheffield then?
I was there till Christmas.
Okay, so you did
But I left on the basis that I'd agreed with Sheffield that I could go back and do French and German. They said I couldn't switch at that point because I'd missed too much of the German course. So they said, no, you can come back in September. Went back to uni.
Did French and German.
So
is that like a languages... Because this is a degree, isn't it? Mm. So is it a combined thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so in your head then, you're going to go and do something with languages, are you? I love asking this question to people because they're like, no, still had no idea.
I mean, maybe I had a vision of presenting the Eurovision or something. I have no idea.
Amazing.
No idea. I do remember as a child that I did used to love watching the Eurovision and thinking, it's so cool that these people can just stand up and speak in different languages.
Yeah.
Not that they do now, there's too much English. But, I don't know really what I thought I was going to do.
But you enjoyed them and...
I did enjoy them, and I enjoyed being in Sheffield. I had to do a year abroad, so I went for 6 months. I actually went to Canada, I went to Quebec.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, so I was there for 6 months. We went to the University of Laval, met lots of people, met British people, Canadian people.
French Canadian,
yeah, American, lots of people.
Yeah.
And it was really, it was amazing.
I mean, Canada is amazing though, which is why, let's face it, lots of people want to live there, don't they?
Yeah, it was amazing. And
did you go anywhere else after that then?
Yeah, so then I came home for a few months and then I had to go to Germany. So I went to Gießen in Germany, which is an industrial town not far from Frankfurt.
Not quite the same as Canada then.
No.
You almost should have done that first, because then you'd have had the cool Canada experience last.
Yeah.
Not that I'm dissing, sorry.
But no,
I'm not
it was
dissing
great.
Germany.
No, it was absolutely great. And again, the problem with Germany is I think I didn't really integrate as much with German people. There were lots of Brits and...
maybe they weren't quite so...
I don't know. I just... or maybe there was too much cheap wine.
Oh, now the truth comes out. But you had a good time.
Cheap cigarettes.
Yeah.
No, I had a really good time. A really good time. And yeah, I mean, I passed my year abroad, so that's okay. And it was great to just live somewhere else. It's lovely being somewhere else and just learning about a new place and culture and all the rest of it.
Also, you can say, I lived in Germany for 6 months. I lived in Canada for 6 months. These are just great nuggets to drop into conversation.
Yeah, and... Yeah,
so was that your third year or your final
That was
year?
my third year.
Yeah.
And then came back for my fourth year, went back to Sheffield.
Okay, so then we leave uni. What's the plan?
Well, like many people, maybe I had met my future husband at university.
You said that. I'm guessing he'd done a 4-year course as well, had he? So you finished at the same time?
Yeah, we finished at the same time.
And what was his plan?
He didn't have a plan.
Neither of you had a plan?
No, I would say both of us were totally disorganised. We hadn't applied for any graduate jobs. We hadn't done anything, which is definitely what people have to do now. But I think... yeah, maybe we were just a bit more laid back and the market was a bit different.
Love. We told her you're in love. You're just going with it.
So, and I think he had big aspirations for what he was going to achieve. He thought he was going to go to the Foreign Office or he was going to go somewhere. There were all these things that he wanted to do. Whereas I was just like, still got no idea what I want to do. And then he actually got a job as a recruitment consultant.
Okay.
For Michael Page, I think.
Oh, that is a big, big brand, though.
In London. And he said, right, this is great because I've got that job and this means I can get you a job. So... well,
technically, otherwise it'd be really bad at his job, wouldn't he?
So he moved down and we found a flat and put money down on this flat. And because he was doing like the finance profession, and he said, I think maybe you should go in to be an accountant. And I don't even know whether he was the person who said you should be an accountant or whether I thought I should be an accountant. I really don't know where that idea came from.
But somewhere along the lines, it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, and I'd always...
we'd like maths. You're good at maths.
I was good at maths, and I always did.
And you're in London. It's very financy. Probably where you're going with it.
And maybe I just thought, it doesn't seem like anybody's going to die if I do that or anybody's going to get put in prison. I just thought, I think I could probably get away with that and just crunch some numbers. I didn't really know what it meant to be an accountant, I suppose, which I think is the case for a lot of people. I don't think they really understand the different things that an accountant can do. But, so... we were late off the bat, to kind of get graduate schemes and everything. But then he found this graduate contract, but it was actually with a charity. And he said, maybe you can get the role there because as well, I hadn't done any kind of finance at university. I hadn't got the best grade.
You ditched your business.
Yeah, so So he said, oh, you know, maybe they'll have you kind of thing. So I applied for the job.
So you went in there as what, like a sort
as
of...
a trainee accountant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the financial accountant, he was just so enthusiastic, dedicated.
Yeah.
He worked so hard, and he he was there like from 6 o'clock. It was in London, but he lived in Cambridge, and he was up on that. He was on the train every morning at 6 o'clock, working. He'd get to work 8 o'clock, work, and he was the last person to leave every day.
Yeah.
He was totally dedicated, and it didn't matter what was going on. If you wanted time with him to ask him about your course or anything, he was always there. He was just so helpful and really wanted to make it work.
A good boss.
And a good mentor.
Really good, yes.
And I mean, he was so like his table, like your table here is beautifully clear apart from, the glasses and whatever, but his table in his office was like this,
just paper.
Thick with paper, the floor covered with paper. There was just paper everywhere because this was way before it was all electronic.
Yeah.
There were computers, but there was still just so much paper all the time.
Yeah.
Invoices
Everything got printed out.
He used to, look at the invoices to be paid and go through and kind of sign
Mark
them. It was just so antiquated
of
now.
the time, yeah.
But yeah, so
what were you actually doing? So we'll come on to the studying in a minute. So what were you doing day to day when you were in the office?
So he set it up so that I could move around and spend a certain amount of time in different departments. So it's like a
graduate programme then, basically, yeah.
Yeah, within the finance team. So I got to do everything from the basics of kind of purchase ledger, doing the invoices, doing the payments, doing bank rec, everything.
Whilst also studying.
And
what was the balance of that then?
Well, the studying...
In a normal week, what was...
So I had to go to night class to do the studying.
Okay.
So I went twice a week to Shepherd's Bush.
And then you were in the office 5 days a week, full time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I did CIMA, which is Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. And I think there were 21 or 23 exams, I can't remember, but I didn't have any exemptions, whereas some people will get exemptions from their course that they've done at university.
Yes, or their degrees and stuff, yeah.
One of the things I ended up doing as well was CIMA got in contact, I think, because I'd got a really good grade in one of the papers, maths. I got like the second highest mark in that sitting in the country.
Wow.
And CIMA got in touch with me and
to go, oh, hello.
And well, they might have got in touch with Terry, actually, I don't know. I can't remember now. To say, oh, we'd really like, is there any way that Sarah could come and speak at our conference? So I had to go and speak. I had to do a speech and talk about being an accountant, training to be an accountant. And
in front of how many people?
Oh, hundreds. I don't know, but yeah.
So that was when you'd finished, so you completed your...
No, that was partway through the training. I can't remember when.
Oh my God, so... Okay.
Yeah, no, it was partway through the training. I think maths was one of... Yeah, there's like a foundation, medium and higher papers that you do, and I think that was within the first level. But anyway.
Wow.
So I did that and passed all my exams eventually.
Yeah.
And then...
Stayed with them for a bit?
I stayed with them for a year.
Yeah.
They gave me a different job. But then I felt that I needed to go and do something different. So then I went to... Do I say where I went?
Yeah, of course you
can. I went to Network Rail.
Wow. Bloody hell, you like a challenge, don't you?
It was very, very different. Very different.
You've not opted for an easy life, are you?
No, it wasn't easy. It was quite stressful.
Yeah.
It was it was a very different focus because I'd gone from, oh yes, we've got, you know, money coming in, and how do we spend it on our donors, and how do we do this, and how do we get best value for money, and that, to how, you know, this project. I initially, the first role I had was as a project accountant in the electrification kind of division. So they did all the electrification major projects,
right,
all over the country, and everything was always over budget, overrunning.
Just badly managed, basically.
And I was the accountant. So it was a totally different focus. It was and the people were, there was lots of nice people, but there were lots of very stressed and nasty people.
Yeah, just unhappy. Yeah.
Yeah, the culture was really, I didn't realise until I left some time later how bad the culture was in Network Rail.
Yeah.
But there was just so many constraints put on people, targets put on people, and also the health and safety aspect, because fundamentally a lot of the engineers, because I was working with engineers basically, and a lot of those engineers, you know, the safety of the railway and the health of their staff was their paramount. It wasn't, oh, I've spent, you know, X too much on my budget.
Yeah.
So it was a really different, it was just, it was very different, gave me, and it was
anxiety,
a much bigger,
stomach ulcers,
bigger environment as well. I mean, but I think I was in that position probably for 8 months maybe, and then I got asked to go and do another role in Network Rail. So then there was a problem in one of the routes. So it's the network is kind of split into routes, and somebody came to me and said, we've got a real problem. Our area financial controller has left from the Anglia route. They're in a right mess. They're massively over budget. Blah blah blah. Can you come and
sort it out?
The financial controller over there? I had a new financial controller over the top of me, and he suspected that something had been going on, and basically there were just lots of cans of worms and all the wrong things that you kind of hear about in accountancy, and
just dodginess.
Yeah, people posting things onto the balance sheet and, I'll do an accrual for this, or I'll do something for that, I'll make an adjustment for that, it'll be okay. And it was all
just stealing time from tomorrow all the time.
Yeah, it was all wind. So it was for me to go in
and completely fix it all.
Fix all of that. There was a team of 9 accountants, I think. I can't remember what all their different roles were, but I think there were like 9 different accountants who looked after different people and different things, and they were really totally stressed because they'd just been getting shouted at because they were so over budget, and and it was horrendous. It was actually horrendous, and I was just working all the time. Yeah. Really, really long hours. Okay. Very intense in terms of work. And it was fortunate then that I'm trying to think. No, it did happen. Yeah, so when I was in that role as well, I got pregnant. Which was exciting.
Yeah. It's always sounded like you needed some good news to be going on.
Yeah, and then...
Did you stay there whilst you went off on mat leave and stuff, or did you leave?
No, before? I lost the baby.
Oh.
So I got time off.
Yeah.
I had a few weeks off, and I just thought the space of being off just made me think, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore. And the boss above me, he was really lovely, and I remember speaking to him, and I said, I just don't think I can carry on. I don't think I can carry on with this. And he said, I know, it's just awful. It's such a mess. He said, things are going to change, actually. There's going to be a big reorganisational structure. We're going to we're going to change how, there's going to be more financial controllers, you'll have a smaller team, and we think that that's actually going to work, because the pressure on Network Rail at that point was all about saving money. It was all about saving money, and that was like our focus. So they concluded that they needed more people in finance to try and work out where the money was going, where there were efficiencies to be made. We were having to do lots of work.
Let's face it, the public scrutiny was huge, wasn't it? They were in the press most weeks, weren't they?
Yeah.
And it was generally money related.
Yeah.
Fun times.
So he kind of convinced me, said, no, please, it's not going to take long, come back, we'll muddle through, and it'll only be a couple of months before you can get into your new role, and work.
It'll be easier.
And it was quite, I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but he kind of said, where do you want to work? And I was like, I don't want to work in Liverpool Street, that's too far away. And he said, well, actually, there'll be a base at Clapham Junction. And I said, that's great, because you'll be able to work at the depot at Clapham Junction. Yeah. Because that was the other thing, they wanted us to move to actually be in the depots with the actual staff, so that we had a better kind of relationship with them. Yeah, and I think there is part of me, maybe there's parts of lots of people, that I want to feel like I'm doing something good, and that I'm doing something that's beneficial to people. So it did make me feel like that. I felt like that when I was at the charity. I definitely felt like that. I thought I'm working for an organisation that does really good things. I feel really engaged in what they're trying to do. And I hadn't felt like that so much at Network Rail until then. I thought, no, I can see that we're trying to do something, and this does have an impact on people. It does make a difference. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, so how long did you stay then with Network Rail?
I think all in, for all of those roles, was I there? I should have looked at my own LinkedIn. 4 years, maybe?
Okay, yeah.
Maybe just under 5 years.
Yeah.
I just missed out on the defined, the final salary pension scheme.
Oh, damn it.
I think you had to be there 5 years. But yeah, I was basically, the reason I left was I was on maternity leave with baby number 2.
Yeah.
By that point, and I just kind of concluded I really wanted to have part-time. I wanted to do something part-time. I thought
this was full on.
This doesn't work, and so I spoke to the financial controller at the time, and I said, "Is there any way we could do this?" And he said, "No. There's no way you can do this role flex, and I'm not going to get somebody else, it can't be a job share." I think, again, things have probably moved on now a bit, but...
they have to really be able to prove that it can't be done now, don't they? Rather than you proving that it can be done.
They wouldn't offer me anything, so in the end I just said, no, I'm not going to come back then. And I didn't have anything else planned. It wasn't...
other than a baby.
Well, I had
a second baby that you were going to have. That's quite a big...
Well, the baby was already there and I didn't want to leave them. So I just thought...
of course,
financially, it wasn't probably the best decision, but at the same time, it was. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back. So I just thought, right, I'll take a bit of time, see what I want to do, see if there's any part-time roles that I can find.
Yeah.
And so then I'd had my year's maternity leave, then I had about 6 months. In the end, I had about another 6 months of
looking around,
and looking after my babies, and that was lovely. And then I found something else. So I found a job, but I had to take a step down because there was nothing. There was nothing at the level that I was at.
That was part-time.
No. But it was another big engineering firm.
Oh.
NATS, who do air traffic control. So they do. So there's 2 arms to NATS. NATS have what they call the en route bit, which is where basically their air traffic controllers will look after all planes that are en route through British airspace.
Okay.
And then there's like the more commercial side of it, which is specific projects. So we'd have engineering projects within different airports. So we do a project, to put a new control tower in at X airport.
Or upgrade a control tower or something like Yeah,
okay. And those projects could be anywhere. So they did a lot of things in the Middle East. There were, so I then, in that role, was looking after, I had more engineers. I love engineers. And I suppose I went into that role, and I remember saying it in my interview, I don't really know anything about airport. I've read about certain things, but my kind of passion, my thing that I really like is learning something. If you ask me about track, if you ask me about railway, if you ask me about this, I can tell you it. And I guarantee that I would do the same when I'm working here. They were like, great.
Wow.
So I think I must have just been really desperate for a job.
No, but, you came with good credentials.
Hopefully. So that was 3 days a week. But and the key thing was you're still working with lots of people and interacting with the business, not isolated and, And I think that's the thing about accountancy, because there's lots of different types of accountants.
Yeah.
And really through most of that career up to then, I've been a management accountant. So that's to do with reporting and, sitting in on meetings to discuss how we're going to improve the forecast or how we're going to do this, and setting budgets and analysing how we can improve things. So you do have to be really involved in the business, and you do have to be interested. I was
going to say interested, yeah.
And you also just have to have a really good relationship with people, because there are times when you really need them to do things.
Yeah.
And so you have to build up that rapport, and you have to get their respect. And I think I would have stayed very happily working there, doing my 3 days a week, and there probably would have been opportunities to progress and do other things, but they decided that they were going to relocate.
Right.
So they were going to relocate to Southampton.
Oh, that's quite a way then.
And
you had a choice to go with?
Yeah, so we were like, should we do that? What should we do? What should we do? And Michael was he was trying to decide what he wanted to do. So he works in a private boys' school in Hampton. And we got our 3 boys by this point. And his aspiration was always that they would go to the school where he was teaching. So he by this point had been through numerous careers, banking, recruitment, retail, and then had ended up, no, I want to be a teacher. So he'd been teaching for a while, and we just concluded. So it was all kind of happening. We're gonna have my job's going, and he was starting to get not disheartened, but he was concerned that it was a very academic school, that it was a very high pressure Southwest London school.
Yes.
Everybody, basically, you're not getting in unless you've got A stars and whatever, unless you're predicted to get A stars. And I just said, I don't think we can say at this point that all of our boys are going to get into this school. So I suppose it just made us think, well, if I'm going to have to move, maybe you should move. And so then we did look at going to Southampton so that I could just move and stay stay in the same role.
Yes, yeah.
But there was nothing that appealed to him.
Yeah.
He was in a massive Spanish department. He was the head of Spanish, and it was the biggest Spanish department in the country. And he said, I can't go to a school that's only got like 1 Spanish teacher and 8 people doing A-level Spanish. Yeah. So it was very much about where the right role for him. And in the end, I just said, okay, well, we'll go wherever you need to go. And if that means that I have to leave that job, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we moved to Oakham, moved to Rutland.
Yay!
Then I got a random letter through the post. And it said, oh, have you ever thought about running your own accountancy practice?
Yeah.
And I just read this and I thought, presumably they've got me off the SEMA database or something.
How interesting.
And I have to say, I'd never thought of running my own practice because, well, most SEMA accountants probably don't think that because most SEMA accountants go into business.
Yes, yeah.
So I read the letter and I thought, no, I've never thought of this, but maybe I could I could give it a go. So I went to a session, like a kind of welcome session, information thing. Yeah, so it's effectively a franchise. And yeah, I think that's what gave me the confidence to go and do it. Because I thought, well, there's going to be people in head office. There's a support accountant who will help me with this. The systems are all set up. They're going to tell me what software I need. They're going to tell me how to get set up with HMRC. They're going to tell me all of these things. And as somebody who'd never worked in practice, I thought, this is going to help because I've never dealt with clients like this.
It's another string to your bow, yeah.
And so, yeah, I did it. I signed up.
How long ago was that now?
Almost 10 years.
There you go, see?
10 years next month. Oh my gosh. Oh no, 9 years. Sorry, I'm getting carried away with myself.
Still a decent stint.
And it was just, starting from scratch, getting trying to earn clients and go and meet people. And to start with, I remember,
surely in that your kind of industry, word of mouth's quite key, isn't it? People recommend people.
But to start with, when you haven't got anybody, you've just got to get your foot in the door. And so I didn't necessarily do the cold calling, but I had somebody doing cold calling and just trying to get meetings with people.
Yeah.
So I look after small businesses, individuals, do personal tax, business, VAT, bookkeeping, company accounts. And
but I'm guessing no clients the same, aren't they?
No.
So
it's way more diverse.
Yeah.
Which has its challenges sometimes because, particularly with a menopausal brain, a client said to me yesterday, she went, oh, did you not remember? I bet you won't remember that I said this to you. And I said, oh no, I've totally forgotten it. So you are picking up different things. You're not getting engrossed in one industry in quite the same way. I know some accountants specialise, I'm going to look after farmers, or I'm going to look after retail, and I don't have any farmers, but I do have lots of different industries that I cover. As an as for me, I am very much around, truth and honesty. I'm honest with my clients. If I make a mistake, I am a human being. If I make a mistake, I'm honest with my client that I've made a mistake. But I would never make those kind
false
promises to people. In actual fact, I had a lady ring me a couple of weeks ago and she said, oh, I've been doing my own tax return for a while. And I just feel like there must be things that I'm missing. And so I just thought if I get an accountant, it will help. And I said, well, it's great that you would like to get an accountant, but I don't want to make any false promises that I'm going to come along and be able
save you a load of money.
Save you a load of money, because there's a very good chance that I'm actually going to find that you've been putting things through that you shouldn't and be able to go. So I said, I don't want to make that promise. And I said, but what I can say is that you'll be doing it right, and you'll have the confidence that you're doing it right. And I think since I've started over the 9 years, you learn a lot just running your own business, never mind being an accountant. It's been, an
eye-opening experience.
It is eye-opening. And there's just so many things that you've got to manage and deal with. And even with being part of a franchise, there's still so much that you've got to do. But I think I have grown in confidence over the time just to think, no, what I believe and what I think is right. And actually, one of the things that the coach said to me, you can think about how that gets incorporated into your kind of engagement process. So when you meet a client, it's not just about them. You've got to think, I'm in a different position. Do I want to be their accountant? Because I'm not in a position now where I'm trying to build up a client base. I've got lots of clients. She said, you can afford to be not picky, but it's about making sure that the relationship is right on both sides. It's not just about them thinking, oh, I like Sarah. It's also about you thinking, I can be... We're going to have a good relationship. This is going to be... this is going to work well for both of us. The thing is, you can make it into whatever you want. There's people who, you can go into more of a consulting kind of side and help people with
so can you.
Improving profits and things like that. You can do the compliance side. You can, it can open up. And there's so many, so many people in really high up positions in big companies where are accountants. They're qualified accountants because it gives you a great insight into...
You can take it in lots of different directions, can't you? It's a good job for that. And as you're saying now, if you do it right, it can be really flexible.
Yeah.
From mums and everything else. So.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So I'm going to ask my 3 final questions.
Okay.
And then let you go. be gone. So question 1 is there any advice you would give your younger self? It can be any version of your younger self. Can be that young Sarah at secondary school.
Don't be scared of things that you think you can't do.
You need to give yourself that advice now.
I do. And I do give myself that advice. I just wish I'd had that advice for longer.
Are you saying to be a bit braver, or is that more of a believe in yourself?
Yeah, I think it's about not panicking about when you've got something that you think you can't do. Think, okay, well, maybe I can't do it, but
I'll give it a go.
Give it a go. And actually, the likelihood is I'll be able to do it.
Or I'll figure out how to do it.
I'll figure out how to do it, and then I'll come away from it knowing more than I knew before.
Question 2 is there any advice, or what do you think your older self would say to you now? So 75-year-old Sarah, you got kids are all grown up, you might have grandkiddies. She could talk to you, what would she say to you now?
Don't waste time worrying about what other people think.
That comes up loads.
Or comparing yourself to others. It's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
And I know it's a waste of time, but I still do it.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Because I'm thinking, I'm not wearing the right shoes, or I've not got the right haircut, or I've not got... I don't know, I just feel... And I know it's a silly thing. I know it's totally ridiculous. But it's like in all aspects of life, when you have babies, you're like, oh, well, is your baby doing this, and is your baby doing...
No.
Oh, I'm such a good mum because I'm baking
my baby's walking
first.
I'm
making homemade food. It doesn't matter what point in life you are in, there is always something.
Yeah, there is. Okay, so final question is always then, given what you said about talking to your business, your coach and all the person, it's any mantras or life advice, things that you live and die by. I feel like you've got one. A good one.
Have I?
Yeah. Come on, what comes to mind? If you had a T-shirt, what would it say?
I don't know. I found that really hard. You obviously think that I've got something. I don't know. A mantra.
Or like a saying, or... I've literally, it's, in all the times I've asked this, it ranges from people being really prolific to even just saying,
stay in your lane.
Oh. And in what context do you mean? Because I feel like that needs context.
Don't get involved in... Don't get drawn into other things. Just stay in stay on the thing that you're meant to be doing. Don't start worrying about what Bob's doing down the road, or why such and such hasn't done this, or why did somebody not call you back, or it can apply to all aspects. Stay in your lane. Stop trying to kind of interfere in what they're doing. Just get on with your thing. Stay in your lane and let other people get on with what they're doing, and you get on with what you're doing.
Yeah, you thrive in your lane, let other people thrive in their lane.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good advice. Thank you very, very much. If you would like to hear more about this chat, see some pics and read about how to get started in this industry and/or this role, then please go to our website www.twerk.org. The link is in this podcast page and across our socials. Sincere thanks.